She doesn't belong here. The music stopped. 200 heads turned at the same time. Nia felt every single one of them before she saw them, that specific heat of a crowd that has just found its spectacle and isn't looking away. Soo-jin was pointing at her, not screaming, not even angry really, just pointing, the way you point at something that needs to be removed, calm and certain in front of every person who mattered in that room. Security. The bride's voice didn't waver. Remove her. Nia's chest tightened. She hadn't moved, hadn't spoken, hadn't done a single thing except exist in this room in an emerald green dress among people who had decided, in the span of 5 seconds, that she was the problem. The security team was already crossing the floor toward her. She could feel the phones going up, could feel the silence that is somehow louder than noise, could feel 200 strangers watching to see what she would do, whether she would cry, whether she would argue, whether she would give them something worth recording. She didn't give them anything. She lifted her chin, she picked up her clutch, and she walked, through the parted crowd, through the gold light, through the white roses and the chandelier glow, past every table she had personally arranged, out of the most beautiful room she had ever built, while the doors closed behind her and the music started again like she had never existed. Then the music stopped a second time. Because Ji-hoon, Kang the groom, the man this entire night had been built around, had unpinned the white rose from his lapel, set it down on the altar without a word, and was walking. Not toward his bride, toward the door. The entire ballroom held its breath. If you're already feeling some type of way, and you need to know how a wedding planner ended up being thrown out of the very wedding she spent 6 months building, and why the groom walked away from the bride everyone thought he wanted, subscribe right now, and let me know where you're watching from. To understand how Nia Freeman ended up in that ballroom, we have to go back 13 months. To the day she arrived in Seoul, believing that planning beautiful weddings could change people's lives, never imagining one would change hers forever. 13 months earlier, Nia Freeman landed in Seoul with 2 suitcases, 1 leather portfolio, and a message waiting on her phone. It was a message from Daniel: "You've got this. Don't spend your first day trying to prove you deserve the opportunity, you already do." Nia read it twice before locking her screen. Daniel was the only person in her family who still showed up without being reminded. He had sent the message before her flight landed, probably because he knew their parents would wait until later, when the important part was already over. She slid the phone into her coat pocket and followed the signs toward the airport train. There was no time to think about home. Orium Events expected her at 8 the next morning. She had crossed an ocean for that opportunity, and Nia Freeman did not arrive late for the life she had worked for. At 8:23 the next morning, nobody at Orium Events cared that she had arrived early. The office looked less like the headquarters of Seoul's most exclusive wedding company, and more like the command center of a disaster. Phones rang from every desk. Assistants moved through the halls carrying garment bags, flower samples, and stacks of printed schedules. A woman near reception was speaking sharply into 2 phones at once. "No, do not tell the groom's mother." She pressed the second phone against her other ear. "And nobody contacts the press. I don't care who they know." Nia stood at the reception desk in a cream blouse, fitted brown trousers and sensible heels, holding the folder containing her placement documents. The receptionist looked at her name. "Freeman?" "Yes, the American student." Nia gave a polite nod. The receptionist looked past her toward the office, as though hoping somebody else might deal with the problem. "You were supposed to observe today. That's what my letter said. That has changed." Before Nia could ask how, the woman with the 2 phones ended one call and crossed the lobby. She was in her early 50s, dressed in black from neck to ankle, with a severe bob and the controlled expression of someone who had not allowed herself to panic only because there were too many people watching. "Are you the student from Chicago?" "Yes." "Nia Freeman. I'm Han-mi-ran." Nia recognized the name immediately. Orium's creative director, the woman whose weddings appeared in Korean fashion magazines and international society pages. The woman who had rejected designers for using the wrong shade of ivory. Nia straightened. "It's an honor to. Can you follow instructions?" "Yes." "Can you keep quiet?" "When necessary." Mrs. Han's eyes sharpened slightly at the answer. "Good. Come with me." Nia had imagined her first morning would involve introductions, company policies, and perhaps several hours spent organizing sample books. Instead, Mrs. Han pushed a garment bag into her arms and walked toward the elevators. "The wedding is at the Grand Miran Hotel. Ceremony begins at noon." Nia checked the time. It was 8:26. "What happened? The bride is missing." Nia stopped. Mrs. Han kept walking, missing as in late, missing as in nobody has seen her for 43 minutes. Her mother is threatening to collapse. The groom's father has started shouting about lawsuits and 200 guests will begin arriving within the hour. The elevator doors opened. Mrs. Han stepped inside. Nia followed. Has anyone called the police? No. Why? Because she is 28 years old, not a child. And if the media hear that the daughter of Assemblyman Lee disappeared from her own wedding, the ceremony becomes the least of our problems. The doors closed. Mrs. Han turned toward her. You are not here to solve anything. Nia nodded. You are here because I need every available pair of hands. Stay close to the junior team, do exactly what you are told, and do not speak to the families unless someone asks you a direct question. I understand. Mrs. Han studied her for a second. The elevator descended. Nia looked down at the garment bag in her arms. Her first day in Seoul's luxury wedding industry had begun with a missing bride. Somewhere inside her, beneath the nerves, something sharpened. The Grand Miran Hotel occupied 30 floors of polished stone, tinted glass, and old money. By the time Nia arrived, the lobby was already filling with florists, musicians, and hotel staff. White peonies moved past in silver buckets. A string quartet tuned near the ballroom entrance. Servers arranged champagne glasses beneath chandeliers large enough to light a theatre. None of it mattered, not while the bride was gone. Mrs. Han led Nia through a private corridor and into the bridal suite. The room looked as though someone had walked away in the middle of becoming a bride. The wedding gown hung empty beside the mirror. Makeup brushes covered the vanity. A diamond necklace lay open in its velvet box. The bride's phone sat on the table beside her handbag. 3 women were speaking over one another near the windows. She was upset after the call. She said she needed air. She wouldn't leave without telling me. A woman in a lavender dress turned when Mrs. Han entered. Have you found my daughter? Not yet, Mrs. Lee. Then why are you standing here? Mrs. Han's expression did not move. My staff are searching the hotel. My husband is downstairs with the groom's family. If they discover this, they will not. Mrs. Lee looked at Nia. Who is she? My assistant. The lie came without hesitation. Nia kept her face neutral. Mrs. Han turned toward the bridal party. I need a clear timeline. One person speaks at a time. The bridesmaids exchanged looks. The woman closest to the window lifted her hand. I'm Hai-jin. I'm her cousin. We were all here until about 7:30. Then the makeup artist left to get another shade of lipstick. What happened after that? Mrs. Han asked. The bride received a phone call. From whom? I don't know. Another bridesmaid cut in. It was the groom. Hai-jin looked at her. You said you didn't hear. I heard his name. You were in the bathroom. I came out. Mrs. Han raised one hand. Enough. Nia said nothing, but her eyes moved around the room. The phone, the handbag, the gown. A pair of white satin heels beneath the chair. Near the entrance stood a smaller pair of plain flats. The bride had not left dressed for the street. She had not taken her phone, had not taken her purse, had not taken either pair of shoes. Nia looked down. There was a faint smear of pale foundation on the edge of the carpet, leading toward the private service door beside the wardrobe. Where does that go? She asked. Mrs. Han turned slowly. I told you not to speak unless the service door. Everyone looked at it. One bridesmaid frowned. It leads to the staff corridor. Was it open earlier? No, Hai-jin said. I don't think so. Nia moved closer. A small piece of white lace was caught near the bottom hinge. Not the gown. The texture was softer. A veil. Mrs. Han saw it too. She crossed the room and pulled the door open. The corridor beyond was empty. Mrs. Han looked at one of her assistants. Search every service floor between here and the ballroom. The assistant hurried away. Nia crouched and touched the lace. It was fresh, cleanly torn. Someone had moved through this door in a hurry. Mrs. Han noticed her examining it. Miss Freeman. You were told to assist. I am assisting. Then assist quietly. Nia stood. Before she could respond, a man's voice came from the corridor. What happened? Everyone turned. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed in a black suit without a tie. His dark hair was combed back from a sharp face, but one loose strand had fallen forward. He had run his hand through it too many times. He looked too composed for the room, but not calm. There was tension in his jaw. Mrs. Lee moved toward him. Ji-hoon, where is Min-jae? Downstairs with his father. Does he know? Keep it that way. Ji-hoon's eyes moved across the room and settled on the torn lace in Nia's hand. Who are you, Nia Freeman? That doesn't answer the question. I'm with Orium. His gaze shifted to Mrs. Han. I've never seen her before. Today is her first day. Ji-hoon looked back at Nia. And she's handling evidence. It's fabric, Nia said, not evidence. Then why are you holding it like evidence? Because it tells us the bride went through that door. He looked toward the corridor. The staff searched this floor. They searched the guest areas. His eyes narrowed. How do you know? Because if they searched the service corridor properly, somebody would have noticed the veil caught in the hinge. The room went quiet for half a second. Mrs. Han gave Nia a warning look. Ji-hoon did not seem offended. If anything, he looked more alert. Where does the corridor lead? A hotel employee answered. Laundry access, storage rooms, staff elevators and the upper preparation floors. Ji-hoon started toward the door. Mrs. Han stepped in front of him. You should remain with the family. My cousin's bride is missing, and if guests see you searching the hotel, they will begin asking why. Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. Nia looked at the torn lace again. The bride had been wearing her veil, but not her shoes. She would not have gone far. Did she have a panic attack? Nia asked. Mrs. Lee stared at her. My daughter does not have panic attacks. That was not an answer. Ji-hoon looked down. Ji-hoon noticed. You know something? Ji-hoon shook her head quickly. No, you looked away. I'm nervous. Nia watched her. What happened after the phone call? Ji-hoon pressed her lips together. Ji-hoon? Mrs. Lee warned. The bridesmaid looked toward the service corridor. She heard Min-jae talking to another woman last night. Mrs. Lee's face changed. What? She didn't tell me until this morning. She said he sounded close to her. He told the woman he couldn't wait much longer. Ji-hoon swore quietly under his breath. Mrs. Lee grabbed Ji-hoon's arm. Why didn't you tell me? Because she made me promise. This is ridiculous. Min-jae would never. People say that until they do, Nia said. Every face turned toward her. Mrs. Han's expression hardened. Nia knew she had crossed the line, but the bride was missing, and everyone in the room seemed more concerned with the ceremony than the woman meant to stand inside it. Ji-hoon looked at Nia for a moment, then toward the corridor. I'm going to find her. Nia moved after him. He turned. You're not coming. She may not respond well to a male relative of the groom. I'm not asking her to respond well. I'm bringing her back. That might be exactly what she's afraid of. His expression cooled. You don't know anything about her. Neither do you, apparently, or you would know where she went. The words landed harder than Nia intended. Mrs. Han inhaled sharply. Ji-hoon stared at her, then stepped aside. Fine. Nia blinked. Fine? You wanted to help. Help. He started down the corridor. Nia followed. Behind them, Mrs. Han called her name. Nia looked back. The creative director's face made the warning clear. Do not embarrass me. Nia nodded once and went after Ji-hoon. The service corridor was narrower than the public hallways, lit by white fluorescent panels and lined with carts, folded linens and locked doors. Ji-hoon walked quickly. Nia had to lengthen her stride to keep up. Does the bride know this hotel? She asked. She attended events here growing up, so she knows where she can hide. She isn't hiding. What would you call disappearing before your wedding? She is upset. That sounds like a polite word for hiding. He stopped beside the service elevator. You always speak this freely to people you just met. Only when they ask questions. I didn't ask whether she was hiding. You asked what I would call it. He looked at her for a beat, then pressed the elevator button. Nothing happened. A red light flashed. Restricted access, he said. Nia looked toward the stairwell. Then we walk. He followed her gaze. There are 28 floors. She didn't have shoes. How do you know? Both pairs are still in the bridal suite. He considered that. So she stayed close. Probably. They entered the stairwell. Nia scanned the steps. Nothing on the first landing. Nothing on the second. On the third, she found another thread of white lace caught against the metal railing. This way. They climbed. At the next landing, a muffled sound came from behind a grey door. Not crying, breathing, fast and uneven. Ji-hoon reached for the handle. Nia caught his wrist. He looked down at her hand. Don't open it like that. She could be hurt. She could be frightened. That's the same thing right now. Nia released him and moved closer to the door. So-yeon? The breathing stopped. My name is Nia. I'm with the wedding team. No answer. We're not here to force you downstairs. Ji-hoon looked at her sharply. She ignored him. We only need to know you're safe. Silence. Then a woman's voice, small and shaking. Is Min-jae there? Ji-hoon almost spoke. Nia lifted one finger without looking at him. He stayed quiet. Is his mother there? No. My mother? No. Another silence. Who is with you? His cousin. Ji-hoon gave her a look. Nia continued. He's standing far enough away to pretend he isn't listening. Something shifted behind the door. A lock clicked. The door opened 3 inches. The bride stood barefoot inside a storage room, still wearing her robe and veil. Mascara had smudged beneath her eyes. One side of the veil was torn where it had caught on the stairwell. Ji-hoon moved forward. Nia blocked him with one arm. Give her space. I'm fine, So-yeon whispered. She was not fine. Her hands were shaking. Nia lowered her voice. May I come in? So-yeon nodded. Nia entered alone and closed the door behind her, leaving it slightly open. The storage room smelled like detergent and pressed linen. So-yeon sat on a stack of folded tablecloths. Nia crouched in front of her. Tell me what happened. So-yeon wiped at her face. I heard him speaking to someone. Min-jae? She nodded. He said he had been waiting too long. He said after today everything would change. Did you hear the woman? No, only him. What made you think he was cheating? So-yeon gave a broken laugh. What else would it mean? I don't know. You think I'm overreacting. I think you're about to marry someone, and your body is telling you there is something you don't understand. So-yeon looked at her. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It also doesn't mean you have the full truth. Outside the door, Ji-hoon shifted. So-yeon heard him. Does he know? Not yet. My mother will make me go through with it. Your mother isn't marrying him. My father invited half the National Assembly. Your father isn't marrying him either. So-yeon looked toward the floor. Nia sat beside her. You do not owe 200 guests a marriage you are afraid to enter. The words settled between them. Outside, Ji-hoon went completely still. Nia continued. But if you want the truth, we get the truth before you make the decision. What if the truth is worse? Then at least it belongs to you. So-yeon's eyes filled again. For several seconds she said nothing. Then she nodded. Okay. Nia opened the door. Ji-hoon was waiting. Bring Min-jae, she said. He looked at So-yeon. Is she coming back? That depends on what he says. This wedding starts in less than 2 hours. Nia met his eyes. Then he should tell the truth quickly. Min-jae arrived 10 minutes later looking terrified. He was younger than Ji-hoon, dressed in formal trousers and a white shirt, his bow tie hanging undone around his neck. So-yeon. She stood. Who are you talking to? He looked toward Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon folded his arms. Answer her. Min-jae swallowed. My sister. So-yeon stared at him. You don't have a sister. My father does. The room went silent. Min-jae ran a hand over his face. My father had a daughter before he married my mother. She contacted me 3 months ago. So-yeon's expression hardened. You knew for 3 months. I didn't know how to tell the family. What did you mean when you said you couldn't wait any longer? She wanted to come today. My father threatened to have security remove her if she appeared. I told her after the wedding I would introduce her publicly, whether he accepted it or not. So-yeon searched his face. Why didn't you tell me? Because every conversation about this wedding became another argument between our families. I thought I was protecting you from one more problem. You protected me by lying? No. He stepped closer. I was afraid you would look at my family and decide you didn't want any part of it. Her face changed slightly. Not forgiveness. Recognition. Nia stood. This is the part where everyone else leaves. Ji-hoon looked at her. What? They need to speak without an audience. Min-jae's shoulders dropped in relief. So-yeon looked at Nia. Can you stay? Nia hesitated. If you want me to, I do. Ji-hoon started to object, then stopped. He stepped into the corridor and closed the door behind him. For the next 20 minutes, Nia sat between a bride and groom whose wedding was falling apart because both of them had mistaken silence for protection. Min-jae explained everything. So-yeon asked the questions he had been avoiding. She cried. He apologized. Not once did Nia tell her to continue with the ceremony. She only asked the question that mattered. Do you still want to marry him today? So-yeon looked at Min-jae, then at the torn edge of her veil. Yes. Min-jae closed his eyes. Relief passed through his whole body. Nia stood. Then we have a wedding to rebuild. By the time they returned downstairs, 46 guests had arrived early. The quartet had played through its opening set twice. The groom's father was demanding answers. Mrs. Han met Nia near the ballroom entrance. Where is she? Changing. Is she continuing? Yes. Mrs. Han exhaled. What happened? Family secret. That is not an explanation. It is the only one I'm allowed to give. Mrs. Han's eyes narrowed. Nia held her ground. She trusted me. Mrs. Han looked toward the bridal corridor, then at the growing crowd. Fine, the ceremony is already 30 minutes behind. Move the cocktail service forward. We cannot serve before the ceremony. Why not? Because that is not the schedule. The schedule no longer matters. Mrs. Han stared at her. Nia continued quickly. Open the side lounge, serve champagne and the first 2 appetizers. Tell guests there was a private family blessing before the ceremony. Move the quartet closer so nobody hears staff resetting the aisle. Mrs. Han said nothing. The bride's veil is torn, Nia added. I need a seamstress or someone with a fine needle. Her makeup needs 20 minutes. If we keep everyone standing outside the ballroom, they'll know something is wrong. One of the senior coordinators approached. Mrs. Han, the groom's mother wants to speak to you. Mrs. Han looked at Nia. You have 15 minutes. To do what? To make your idea work. Then she walked away. Nia did not waste a second. She redirected servers, moved the musicians, asked the hotel to open the lounge, found an older wardrobe assistant who repaired the veil with transparent thread. When a junior coordinator began crying because she had misplaced the revised seating cards, Nia took the list, recreated the missing table assignments, and sent her back to the ballroom before anyone noticed. Ji-hoon watched from across the corridor. He had removed his jacket and rolled up his sleeves to help move a decorative partition. Nia approached him. You don't have to do that. Neither do you. It's my job. You started this morning, and already you've decided I'm bad at following instructions. I haven't decided whether that's a flaw. She looked at him. He met her eyes. For the first time since the stairwell, neither of them was arguing. Then someone called Nia's name. The moment ended. She moved away. The ceremony began 52 minutes late. Not one guest knew the bride had vanished. Seo-yeon walked into the ballroom wearing the repaired veil, her father beside her and her eyes fixed on Min-jae. When they reached the altar, Min-jae took her hands. Whatever passed between them then belonged only to them. Nia stood near the back of the room beside Mrs. Han. The creative director watched the couple for several seconds. Then she spoke without looking at Nia. Who authorized you to move the cocktail service? No one. Who told you to involve yourself in the bride's disappearance? No one. Who gave you permission to alter the timeline? No one. Mrs. Han finally turned. Do you see the pattern? Yes. You were insubordinate on your first day. You contradicted the groom's family. You made decisions above your position. Yes. A pause. Nia prepared herself to be dismissed. Mrs. Han looked back toward the altar. You were also correct. Nia said nothing. Do not look pleased. I'm trying not to. You failed. Nia lowered her eyes. Mrs. Han continued. Most inexperienced planners protect the event because they want credit for saving it. Her gaze remained on the bride. You protected the woman. Nia looked at her. That matters. The ceremony continued. Mrs. Han held out her hand. Your placement letter. Nia gave her the folder. Mrs. Han removed the observation agreement, tore it in half and handed the folder back. You are no longer observing. Nia stared at her. You will work a 30-day trial with my junior team. Mrs. Han, do not thank me yet. One mistake and you are gone. Nia nodded. I understand. Be here Monday at 6. Yes. Mrs. Han started to walk away, then stopped. And Miss Freeman? Yes. Next time you disobey me, make sure the result is worth the trouble. Nia watched her leave. Across the ballroom, Ji-hoon was standing beside his cousin. He caught Nia looking. For one second, there was something almost like amusement in his expression. Then a beautiful Korean woman in a pale blue dress stepped beside him and took his arm. Ji-hoon looked down at her. The warmth left his face. Nia noticed, then told herself it was none of her business. 5 weeks passed. Nia survived the trial. Then another. Mrs. Han extended her placement. Orium gave her more responsibilities slowly and reluctantly, as though testing whether her first-day performance had been skill or luck. She handled an outdoor ceremony when rain flooded the original venue. She replaced a celebrity bride's missing gown 30 minutes before photographs. She negotiated with a florist who tried to double his price the night before an event. Every crisis ended the same way. Nia fixed it, then stayed behind to clean up what nobody else noticed. One evening, she was reorganizing sample books after everyone else had gone home when her phone lit up. Daniel, still alive? She smiled. Nia, barely. Daniel eating? Nia looked at the untouched takeout beside her laptop. Nia, yes. The lie was so automatic she did not think about it. Another message came. Daniel, you know being useful every second is not a personality, right? Her smile faded. Before she could answer, Mrs. Han appeared in the doorway. Conference room 3. Now. Nia stood. Is something wrong? Potential clients arrived early. At 8:30, they are not people we keep waiting. Nia followed her down the hallway. What do you need me to do? Listen, take notes, speak only when spoken to. Nia almost smiled. That sounds familiar. Mrs. Han gave her a look. It should. They reached the conference room. Mrs. Han opened the door. Nia stepped inside and stopped. Ji-hoon Kang sat at the far end of the table in a dark grey suit. He recognized her immediately. She saw it in the slight change in his eyes. Beside him sat the woman from his cousin's wedding, the beautiful one in pale blue. Tonight she wore white. Not bridal white, but close enough to make the intention obvious. She looked Nia over once before turning to Mrs. Han. I'm Park Soo-jin. Her voice was warm. Her smile was perfect. We're here to discuss our wedding. Nia looked at Ji-hoon. He held her gaze, and suddenly the words she had spoken in the hotel stairwell returned to her with uncomfortable clarity. A delayed ceremony can be repaired. A marriage entered under fear cannot. Ji-hoon had heard every word. Now he was sitting across from her, asking Orium Events to help build one. Soo-jin's smile never slipped. Not when Nia entered, not when Ji-hoon recognized her. Not even when Mrs. Han introduced Nia as one of Orium's newest planners and Ji-hoon said quietly, We've met. Soo-jin turned toward him. Have you? At Min-jae's wedding. Nia placed her notebook on the table. Mr. Kang helped us locate the bride. That was you? Soo-jin asked. Her eyes moved over Nia again, more carefully this time. I heard someone from Orium nearly took control of the entire hotel. Nia could not tell whether the comment was admiration or criticism. I helped adjust the schedule. Mrs. Han took the seat nearest Soo-jin. Miss Freeman's methods were unconventional, but successful, Ji-hoon added. Mrs. Han looked at him. Nia did too. He did not smile. He simply stated it as fact. Soo-jin rested one hand over Ji-hoon's. We're hoping for the same level of success. Ji-hoon looked down at her hand. He did not remove it. He did not cover it either. Mrs. Han opened the preliminary file. The ceremony is scheduled for 8 months from today. 400 guests. The families have requested the Imperial Crown Ballroom at the Grand Moran. The ballroom seats 500, Nia said. Mrs. Han looked at her. Nia remembered the instruction to speak only when spoken to. Soo-jin leaned forward. Is that a problem? No. It gives us room. For what? Guest movement, camera equipment, a wider aisle, separate entrances for both families. Soo-jin considered it. My mother wants every table filled. An empty space can look intentional. A crowded room always looks crowded. Ji-hoon's mouth moved slightly, not a smile. Close, Soo-jin noticed. So you think my mother's plan would look cheap? That isn't what I said. It sounded like it. Nia kept her voice level. I said the room should serve the wedding instead of the guest count. Mrs. Han closed the file softly. The sound was small, the warning was not. Soo-jin looked at Nia for another second. Then she smiled again. I like honesty. Ji-hoon finally spoke. Do you? The question sounded simple. It changed the room. Soo-jin turned toward him. Of course. Mrs. Han moved quickly. We should discuss the concept. Soo-jin released Ji-hoon's hand and opened a large white folder. Inside were photographs of royal weddings, palace interiors and cathedral ceilings. I want timeless, she said. European but not old. Grand but not excessive. White roses. Crystal. Gold. Mrs. Han nodded. And you, Mr. Kang? Ji-hoon looked at the photographs. What she wants is fine. Soo-jin's fingers tightened around the folder. Mrs. Han continued as though she had not noticed. Music? Soo-jin will decide. Menu? Her family has already selected it. Vows? A pause. Ji-hoon looked toward the window. Traditional. Soo-jin smiled. See, we agree. Nia lowered her eyes to her notes. They had agreed on nothing. Soo-jin had chosen. Ji-hoon had stopped resisting. Nia knew the difference. She also knew it was none of her business. For the next 40 minutes, Soo-jin described the wedding with the precision of a military campaign. Which guests needed to be seated near photographers, which relatives should never appear in the same frame, which executives needed to feel honored without seeming favored. The flowers had to be imported. The champagne had to be French. The bride's entrance needed to last exactly 1 minute and 20 seconds. Ji-hoon spoke only twice. Once to reject a politician his father wanted invited. Once to ask whether the staff would be given a proper meal. Soo-jin looked at him strangely after the second question. They're working. They still have to eat. Orium handles its employees. Ji-hoon looked at Mrs. Han. Mrs. Han nodded. We do. Nia saw his shoulders relax slightly. It was the first decision he had made that evening. It had nothing to do with himself. When the meeting ended, Soo-jin left first to take a call. Mrs. Han gathered the folders. Miss Freeman, walk Mr. Kang through the venue inspection schedule. Nia looked up. Me? You took the notes. Mrs. Han left before Nia could question her. Ji-hoon remained seated. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then he said, You disobey instructions less often now. Nia opened the scheduling document. I've become better at hiding it. This time he did smile. It changed his face more than she expected. The tension in his eyes eased. For the first time, he looked less like a man attending a business meeting, and more like someone who still remembered how to enjoy one. Nia looked back at the paper. The first venue inspection is next Thursday at 3. I'll be there. Soo-jin too. His smile disappeared. She will try. That means no. That means she has more important things to do. It's her wedding. I'm aware. Nia handed him the schedule. He did not take it immediately. You remember what you said at the hotel? Her fingers tightened around the paper. I said several things. A marriage entered under fear cannot be repaired. Nia looked at him. I was speaking to Seoul. I know. Then why are you asking? I didn't ask anything. He took the schedule. Nia's voice lowered. Mr. Kang, if you're expecting me to comment on your relationship, I'm not. Good. I'm asking whether you believe it. That sounds like a comment on your relationship. He watched her for a moment, then folded the schedule and placed it inside his jacket. Thursday at 3. He walked toward the door. Before leaving, he looked back. You were right about my cousin. About what? He was protecting the wedding instead of the woman. Nia said nothing. Ji-hoon opened the door. I wonder how many people know the difference. Then he left. Nia remained in the conference room, staring at the empty chair beside his. She told herself the question meant nothing. It belonged to a client. It had nothing to do with her. Still, she thought about it long after she went home. The venue inspection began badly. Soo-jin was 40 minutes late. Her mother arrived 20 minutes early. Mrs. Park entered the Imperial Crown Ballroom with 3 assistants, 1 stylist, and the expression of a woman already disappointed by everything she had not yet seen. She was elegant in a cream suit, pearl earrings and heels that clicked sharply against the marble. This room looked smaller than the photographs. It's currently divided. The temporary wall be removed for the ceremony. Mrs. Park did not look at her. Where is Mrs. Han? Shortly. I was told Orium's creative director would personally manage this wedding. She is. Then why are you speaking? Nia kept her expression neutral. Because I'm leading today's inspection. Mrs. Park finally looked at her. Leading. Under Mrs. Han's supervision. Her gaze traveled from Nia's face to her clipboard. You're American. Yes. Do you understand Korean wedding customs? I understand the requirements in the planning brief. That wasn't my question. Before Nia could answer, Ji-hoon's voice came from behind them. She understands weddings. Mrs. Park turned. Ji-hoon crossed the ballroom in a charcoal suit, his hands in his pockets. You're late, she said. I was told 3. You should have arrived before me. Mrs. Park's face tightened. Ji-hoon looked toward Nia. Where do we start? Nia pointed toward the ceremony layout. The aisle. Mrs. Park interrupted. It needs to be longer. If we extend it, the rear tables lose visibility. They can watch the screens. They're attending in person. Mrs. Park stared at her. Do you always argue with clients? Only when the result affects the event. Ji-hoon looked down, hiding another small smile. Mrs. Park saw it. Something cool entered her expression. Ji-hoon, may I speak to you? He did not move. We're already speaking, privately. Nia stepped back. I'll check the lighting positions. She walked away before either of them could dismiss her. She did not hear the beginning of their argument. She heard the end. You will not embarrass this family 8 months before the merger, Mrs. Park said. Ji-hoon's voice was lower. I'm marrying your daughter. That doesn't mean you own my time. It means our family's futures are connected. The companies are connected. The difference is only meaningful to people who have the luxury of being selfish. Nia stopped near the lighting console. She should not have been listening. She moved farther away, but the words followed her. When Ji-hoon returned several minutes later, his expression had closed again. He stood beside Nia while she reviewed the lighting plan. Where did she go? To call Soo-jin. Is Soo-jin still coming? No. Nia nodded. Ji-hoon looked at the empty ballroom. What would you change? She glanced at him. About the lighting, the wedding. That isn't my decision. I know. Then why ask? Because everyone who is allowed to decide already has. Nia lowered the clipboard. He looked tired. Not physically. Something deeper. She chose her words carefully. The room is beautiful. That wasn't an answer. The wedding is designed to impress people. And? It doesn't say anything about the couple. Ji-hoon's gaze shifted toward the white mock-up flowers. What should it say? I don't know you well enough. You knew my cousin's bride for 10 minutes. She was willing to tell the truth. That landed. Ji-hoon looked away. Before he could answer, one of the installers shouted. A sharp metallic sound tore through the ballroom. Nia looked up. The temporary floral frame above the aisle tilted. One of its supports had slipped loose. Move, someone yelled. Nia froze for half a second. Ji-hoon did not. He grabbed her around the waist and pulled her backward as the frame crashed onto the exact place she had been standing. White artificial flowers scattered across the marble. The sound echoed through the ballroom. For several seconds, Nia could hear nothing except her own breathing. Ji-hoon's arm was still around her. His body stood between hers and the fallen metal. Are you hurt? She looked up. He was close enough that she could see the small scar near his right eyebrow. I'm fine. Are you sure? Yes. His hand remained at her waist. Nia became aware of it at the same moment he did. He released her. An installer ran over apologizing. The lock failed. I'm so sorry. Nia crouched beside the frame. Ji-hoon caught her arm. What are you doing? Checking the support. It almost crushed you. And if the other supports are faulty, it could crush a guest. You can let someone else check. She looked at his hand on her arm. He followed her gaze and let go. Nia examined the locking mechanism. It had not failed. It had never been secured. She looked toward the installer. Who approved this? The man hesitated. Our supervisor. Bring him. Mrs. Park returned just as the workers lifted the structure. What happened? Installation error, Nia said. Mrs. Park looked at Ji-hoon. Are you hurt? No. Only then did she look at Nia. And her? Ji-hoon's expression changed. Her name is Nia. Mrs. Park looked at him. The silence that followed was brief. It said too much. Soo-jin arrived an hour later. By then, the damaged structure had been removed, and Nia had ordered every overhead installation rechecked. Soo-jin entered in sunglasses and a fitted navy dress. Her first concern was not the accident, it was the missing frame. Why is the aisle empty? The floral structure was unsafe, Nia explained. Unsafe how? It wasn't secured. Soo-jin removed her sunglasses. Who noticed? Ji-hoon pulled Nia out of the way before it fell, Mrs. Park said. Her tone was casual. Her eyes were not. Soo-jin looked at Ji-hoon, then at Nia. Were you standing together? We were discussing the layout, Ji-hoon said. Soo-jin smiled. Of course. She walked toward the aisle. Replace it. Nia shook her head. Not until we receive a new engineering report. The structure is central to my entrance. A guest's safety is more important. I'm not asking what you think is important. Nia held her gaze. No, you're asking me to approve something dangerous. Soo-jin stepped closer. You work for me. I work for Orium. And Orium works for my family. Ji-hoon spoke before Nia could answer. She said no. Soo-jin turned toward him. I heard her. Then why are we still discussing it? The ballroom became quiet around them. Workers pretended not to listen. Mrs. Park moved forward. We can review another design. Soo-jin looked at Ji-hoon for a long moment. Then she smiled. Fine. But when she turned back to Nia, the smile remained only on her mouth. You're very confident for someone so new, Nia answered honestly. I have to be. Why? Because hesitation becomes expensive during weddings. Soo-jin nodded slowly. I suppose we'll see whether your confidence survives mine. She walked away. Ji-hoon looked at Nia. Nia looked back. Neither of them needed to say what had just happened. Soo-jin had not threatened her openly. She had not needed to. Over the next 6 weeks, Ji-hoon and Nia kept finding themselves alone. Not intentionally. At least that was what Nia told herself. Soo-jin missed 2 tasting appointments, then a meeting with the florist, then the consultation for the ceremony music. Each time Ji-hoon arrived. Each time he apologized for her absence without explaining it. Each time the wedding became a little more his and a little less hers. During the tasting, Ji-hoon rejected nearly every dish his future mother-in-law had selected. The sea bass is dry. The chef followed the requested preparation. Then the request is wrong. Nia looked at him. You're allowed to say you dislike something before the wedding day. I'm discovering that. You're 32. I've been busy, being agreeable. He looked at her. That sounded judgmental. It was, he laughed. Not politely. Not because a client was expected to appreciate a planner's comment. It was a real laugh. The chef looked between them. Nia felt warmth rise into her face. She turned back to the menu. Try the short ribs. Yes, ma'am. Don't call me that. You've been ordering me around for an hour. I'm planning a wedding. You're planning Soo-jin's wedding. The words left his mouth before either of them could stop them. The humor disappeared. Nia placed her fork down. Then perhaps she should attend the next meeting. Ji-hoon's expression closed slightly. I'll remind her. He did not. Soo-jin missed the next one too. During the music consultation, Nia played 3 options for the couple's first dance. Ji-hoon rejected all of them. What do you like? She asked. I don't dance. You're having a first dance. I've been informed. Then unless you plan to stand motionless while Soo-jin circles you, we need music. He leaned back in the chair. What would you choose? For myself, for the wedding. That depends on the couple. You keep saying that, because it keeps being true. Ji-hoon looked toward the speakers. My parents danced to an old jazz song at every anniversary. What song? He told her. Nia searched for it and pressed play. A warm piano filled the consultation room. Ji-hoon's expression changed immediately. For a second he was somewhere else. Nia watched him. They were happy. My mother was. And your father? He liked being admired for making her happy. That isn't the same thing. No. The music continued. Nia lowered the volume. What happened to her? She died when I was 19. I'm sorry. He nodded once. Soo-jin hates this song. Why? She says it sounds old. Old isn't always bad. Tell her that. That sounds dangerous. A smile touched his face. You don't seem frightened of her. I'm frightened of mistakes. People are manageable. You believe that? No. He laughed again. The sound stayed with Nia after he left. So did the way he had looked when the song began. Soo-jin noticed the laughter before she understood the reason for it. She arrived unexpectedly at Orion one evening and found Ji-hoon standing beside Nia's desk. Nia was showing him a revised floor plan. Ji-hoon said something Soo-jin could not hear. Nia smiled. Not the professional smile she gave clients. Something warmer. Ji-hoon watched her for half a second too long. Soo-jin stood in the doorway until they noticed her. Ji-hoon straightened. You came. You sound surprised. You cancelled. I changed my mind. Nia moved the floor plan aside. We were reviewing the guest entrances. Soo-jin approached. Were you? Yes. Ji-hoon reached for his coat. I have a call. You just arrived. I've been here 40 minutes. Soo-jin looked at Nia. 40 minutes. Nia nodded. Ji-hoon left. The office door closed behind him. Soo-jin remained beside Nia's desk. For several seconds she said nothing. Then, he seems comfortable with you. Nia kept her tone professional. We've had several meetings. I know. Soo-jin touched the edge of the revised floor plan. He isn't usually comfortable with strangers. I'm not sure I'd call us comfortable. What would you call it? Work. Soo-jin looked at her. Good. The word sounded almost kind. Then she leaned closer. Keep it that way. Nia's face did not change. If you have concerns about my conduct, you can speak to Mrs. Han. I'm speaking to you, I noticed. Soo-jin's eyes narrowed slightly. You think being direct makes you powerful? No. Nia closed the folder. I think it saves time. For 1 second, Soo-jin's perfect expression broke. Then it returned. She smiled. So does removing a problem before it grows. She collected her handbag and walked away. Nia watched her leave. Her phone buzzed. A message from Ji-hoon. Did she ask why I was here? Nia stared at it. She should not answer. She knew that. Still, she typed. She didn't have to. 3 dots appeared almost immediately, then disappeared, then returned. I'm sorry. Nia looked toward the door Soo-jin had just passed through. Don't apologize to me. His response came after a longer pause. That seems to be what everyone keeps telling me. Nia locked the phone, but the unease remained. If you've ever watched someone ignore every warning because they were afraid of starting over, tell me in the comments. Would you stay quiet? Or would you tell them the truth, even if it cost you everything? And please, like this video if you're enjoying Nia's story. It helps YouTube push it to more people. And trust me, the moment Soo-jin realizes just how much Ji-hoon has begun to rely on Nia is where everything starts to change. The first complaint arrived the following morning. Mrs. Han called Nia into her office and placed a printed email on the desk. Nia read it once, then again. The sender claimed Nia had been disrespectful during the venue inspection, overruled the bride's decisions and behaved inappropriately familiar with the groom. There was no name. Did Soo-jin send this? Nia asked. Mrs. Han folded her hands. I don't respond to accusations with more accusations. She threatened me yesterday. What exactly did she say? That removing a problem early saves time. Mrs. Han's expression tightened. Did anyone hear her? No. Then I cannot use it. But you believe me. That is irrelevant. It shouldn't be. In this industry, what I can prove matters more than what I believe. Nia placed the email down. What happens now? You remain on the wedding. Nia had expected relief. It did not come. Mrs. Han continued. But you do not meet Ji-hoon alone. Nia looked at her. I've never arranged to meet him alone. Then this should be easy. What if Soo-jin keeps cancelling? Another planner would attend? Nia nodded. Mrs. Han studied her. You think this is unfair? It is. Yes. The answer surprised her. Mrs. Han leaned back. Fairness is not the first thing powerful clients purchase. What is? Silence. Nia said nothing. Mrs. Han looked toward the email. Do not give them a reason to purchase yours. For 2 weeks Nia avoided Ji-hoon. She copied Mrs. Han into every message. She brought another coordinator to every meeting. When Ji-hoon tried to speak to her after appointments, she excused herself. He noticed. Of course he noticed. During a floral consultation, he waited until the other planner stepped outside to take a call. Did I do something? Nia kept arranging the sample photographs. No. You stopped answering my messages. Your messages were not related to the wedding. They were questions about restaurants. You said you couldn't find decent American breakfast in Seoul. That did not require a list of 12 options. It took 5 minutes. It was inappropriate. His expression changed. According to whom? Nia looked at him. Your fiancée. Ji-hoon went still. What did she say? It doesn't matter. It matters if it changed how you speak to me. She filed a complaint. His jaw tightened. Against you, anonymous. That means you think it was her. I know it was. Ji-hoon stood. I'll speak to her. No. She cannot threaten Orium's staff because she is jealous. The word hung between them. Nia lowered her voice. Do not say that. Why? Because then this becomes real. He looked at her for a long moment. Isn't it? Nia's heart beat faster. She closed the sample book. You are getting married. I know. To her. I know. And I am planning it. His face hardened. I know that too. Then whatever this is, I didn't say there was anything. You didn't have to. Silence. Neither moved. The door opened. The junior coordinator returned. Nia stepped back first. Mrs. Han will send the revised flower costs by tomorrow. She collected her notebook. Ji-hoon watched her leave. That evening a bouquet arrived at Orium. White peonies, no card. The receptionist carried them to Nia's desk. From Mr. Kang. Nia looked up sharply. Why would you assume that? The receptionist smiled. Because he asked which flowers you liked during the tasting. Nia stared at the bouquet. She did not remember that conversation. Then she did. She had mentioned peonies while reviewing Soo-jin's floral selection. One sentence. Ji-hoon had remembered it. Nia picked up the bouquet and carried it directly to Mrs. Han's office. I can't keep these. Mrs. Han looked at the flowers. Why? They could be from Ji-hoon. Could be. There's no card. Then you don't know. Everyone else thinks they're from him. Mrs. Han sighed. Give them to reception. Nia did. 3 hours later, Soo-jin posted a photograph online. She was holding an identical bouquet. The caption read, Some men still know how to apologize properly. Nia stared at the post. The flowers had never been for her. Embarrassment moved through her first, then relief, then something she did not want to identify. A message arrived from Ji-hoon. I didn't send those. Nia's stomach tightened. She looked across the office. The receptionist was watching her. So was another assistant. Soo-jin had sent both bouquets. One to herself, one to Nia. She wanted people to make the assumption. She wanted the rumor, and Nia had walked directly into it. Before she could respond, another message arrived. She's creating something. Nia typed back, I know. Across the city, Soo-jin sat in the rear seat of her car, watching the comments beneath her photograph multiply. Her assistant sat beside her. Do you think Nia understood? Soo-jin looked out at the traffic. She will. And Ji-hoon? He'll defend her. The assistant hesitated. Isn't that what you're trying to prevent? Soo-jin smiled faintly. No. She looked down at the photograph again. I need him to defend her where people can see. Soo-jin's plan worked faster than Nia expected. By the end of the week, 3 employees had heard that Ji-hoon had sent Nia flowers. By the following Monday, the story had changed. Now, according to one assistant, Ji-hoon had been visiting Orium after hours. According to another, Nia had deliberately arranged private meetings with him. None of it was true. That did not matter. Rumors rarely needed truth. They only needed enough people willing to repeat them. Nia walked into the staff kitchen one afternoon and heard 2 coordinators stop talking the moment she entered. One of them looked down at her coffee. The other smiled too quickly. Nia filled her cup with water. You can continue. Neither woman spoke. Nia turned toward them. If you're discussing my work, I'd like to hear it. It wasn't about you, one said. Then why did you stop? Silence. Nia nodded once. Exactly. She walked out before the anger reached her face. Her phone buzzed. Daniel, how's Seoul? She stared at the message. There were many possible answers. Beautiful, lonely, complicated. She typed, busy, I'm doing well. Then locked her screen. It was easier to be useful than vulnerable. Easier to report progress than admit she was beginning to feel watched everywhere she went. That evening, Mrs. Han called her into the conference room. Ji-hoon was already there. So was Soo-jin. Nia stopped near the door. Soo-jin smiled. There she is. Mrs. Han gestured toward the chair. Sit. Nia sat. On the table lay a printed photograph. Ji-hoon and Nia stood beside one another during the music consultation. Ji-hoon was leaning toward her. Nia's face was turned upward. The angle made the moment look intimate. It had not been. Nia remembered exactly what he had been saying. He had asked whether the old jazz song made the ballroom feel too formal. That was all. Soo-jin folded her hands. This photograph was sent to me anonymously. Nia looked at the image. By the same person who sent the complaint. I don't know. I think you do. Mrs. Han spoke sharply. Nia. Soo-jin's smile faded. You're accusing me? I'm asking why someone keeps documenting ordinary conversations and presenting them as something else. Ji-hoon looked toward Soo-jin. Where did you get it? I just told you. Who sent it? Does it matter? Yes. Soo-jin turned to him. You look very comfortable with her. I was speaking. Close to her face. The room was loud. It was a private consultation. It was a wedding meeting. Soo-jin laughed once, coldly. Why are you defending her? Ji-hoon leaned back. Because she hasn't done anything. That you know of. Nia stood. Mrs. Han looked at her. Where are you going? I don't think I should be in this conversation. Soo-jin's eyes sharpened. You're already in it. No, you placed me in it. Nia looked directly at her. I have done my job. I have never contacted your fiancé for personal reasons. I have never met him outside scheduled planning sessions, and I have never encouraged anything inappropriate. Soo-jin glanced at Ji-hoon. Do you hear how carefully she chose those words? Nia continued. If you want another planner, ask for one. Ji-hoon's expression changed. Soo-jin saw it. There it was, the reaction she had been waiting for. No, Ji-hoon said. Nia looked at him. Soo-jin did too. He spoke calmly. She stays. The room went still. Soo-jin's voice lowered. Why? Because she is the only person working on this wedding who says what she actually thinks. Mrs. Han closed her eyes briefly. Nia felt the floor shift beneath the entire situation. Soo-jin looked from Ji-hoon to Nia, then smiled. Fine. She collected the photograph. Nia stays. The ease of her surrender frightened Nia more than anger would have. Soo-jin stood. But from now on, every meeting is recorded. She walked out. Ji-hoon rose to follow. Nia spoke before she could stop herself. You gave her exactly what she wanted. He turned. What? She wanted you to defend me. Why? So she can prove you care. His face tightened. I do care. The words landed between them. Too direct, too honest. Nia looked away first, then stopped making it visible. Ji-hoon stared at her. Do you think I can turn that off? She looked back. You're getting married in 6 months. I know exactly when I'm getting married. Then act like it. His jaw tightened. For one moment he looked angry, not at her. At himself. He left without another word. Soo-jin became kinder after that. That was how Nia knew the danger had increased. She apologized for the complaint, sent lunch to the planning staff, praised Nia's design revisions in front of Mrs. Han. Then she began making small requests that placed Nia closer to Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon hates long meetings, she said one morning. Can you deliver the revised contract directly to his office? Nia refused. She sent a courier. Soo-jin asked Nia to accompany Ji-hoon to inspect the private dining room he wanted for the rehearsal dinner. Nia brought 2 other planners. Soo-jin smiled through every refusal. She was patient, and patient people were dangerous when they had decided on an outcome. 3 months before the wedding, the families hosted an engagement dinner at a private restaurant in Cheongdam-dong. Orim was responsible for the room, guest flow and media access. Nia arrived before noon. By 6 everything was ready. By 7 the guests were seated. Ji-hoon arrived last. He found Nia near the service entrance reviewing the table sequence. You've been avoiding me. I've been working. You sent 3 people to a meeting meant for 2. Soo-jin requested transparency. She requested surveillance. Nia looked toward the dining room. You agreed to marry her. His face closed. You say that every time the conversation becomes inconvenient. Because it remains true. What do you want me to do? The frustration in his voice startled her. Nia lowered her clipboard. I don't want anything from you. That's the problem. She stared at him. Ji-hoon stepped closer, but not close enough to touch. Everyone wants something. My father wants the merger. Her mother wants the social position. Soo-jin wants the wedding. He looked at Nia directly. You are the only person who keeps walking away. Nia's chest tightened. Maybe because I understand boundaries, or because you're afraid of wanting something you can't control. She laughed softly, without humor. You don't know me. I know you lie to your brother when he asks if you're okay. Nia went still. Ji-hoon's expression changed. He knew he had crossed a line. How do you know about Daniel? I saw his message when your phone lit up during the tasting. You read it. I saw one line. That was private, I know. Then you also know you had no right to mention it. She turned away. Ji-hoon caught her wrist lightly. Nia stopped. He released her immediately. I'm sorry. She kept her back to him. You keep apologizing after you cross lines. I'm trying to stop. You're not trying hard enough. He was quiet. Then, would you tell me the truth if I asked you something? Nia turned slowly. That depends. If you were me, would you still go through with this wedding? There it was. The question she had known was coming since the day in the hotel stairwell. Nia looked toward the dining room. Soo-jin was laughing beside their families. Cameras flashed around her. Everything looked perfect. Nia knew how little perfection meant. I can't answer that for you. I asked what you would do. You aren't me. Pretend. No. His frustration rose. Why? Because if you leave her after I tell you to, she will say I stole you. If you marry her after I tell you not to, you will blame me every time you regret it. Ji-hoon looked at her. So you won't say anything? I'll say this. Nia stepped closer, keeping her voice low. A wedding can survive bad weather, a missing bride, a ruined dress, and 50 late guests. His eyes stayed on hers. But a marriage cannot survive two people refusing to tell the truth. He said nothing. You already know whether you should marry her. She moved away. Ji-hoon's voice followed. And what do you know? Nia stopped. She did not turn around. That I should never have let this become personal. Then she walked into the dining room. Neither of them noticed the phone recording from inside the partially open service door. If you've ever known the truth but stayed silent because speaking could destroy everything, comment below. Would you have told Ji-hoon to cancel the wedding? Or would you have done what Nia did and forced him to make his own choice? And please share this story with someone who loves emotional dramas, because Soo-jin had finally captured exactly what she needed. Just not the full conversation. The edited recording reached Soo-jin before midnight. Nia's voice played first. A marriage cannot survive two people refusing to tell the truth. Then Ji-hoon, would you tell me to cancel it? The original conversation had never included those exact words together. That did not matter. The editor made them sound natural. Then Nia's voice again. You already know whether you should marry her. Soo-jin listened 3 times. Her assistant stood beside the window. Do you want me to send it to Mrs. Han? Not yet. To Ji-hoon's father? No. Soo-jin placed the phone on the table. If I expose her now, Ji-hoon will protect her. What are you waiting for? The wedding. Her assistant stared. You still intend to marry him? Soo-jin smiled. Of course. But he doesn't have to love me. She looked at the paused image of Nia on the screen. He only has to choose me in public. And if he doesn't? Soo-jin's smile disappeared. Then I make sure everyone knows who destroyed us. The final 3 months moved quickly. That was how disasters often approached, quietly at first. Then all at once. Nia stopped attending meetings alone. Ji-hoon stopped sending messages. Soo-jin behaved like the perfect bride. For a while, Nia almost believed the worst had passed. Then suppliers began failing. A dress fitting disappeared from the calendar. The florist received the wrong ballroom dimensions. The seating plan was leaked to a gossip site. Each mistake pointed back to Nia. Each one could be explained. None could be proven. Mrs. Han defended her until the week before the wedding. Then she called Nia into her office and shut the door. I'm removing you from direct client contact. Nia felt the words before she understood them. For what? Too many incidents have your name attached. Because someone is attaching it. I know. Then why punish me? I'm protecting you. By hiding me. By keeping you employed. Nia stood. This wedding is my work. It belongs to Orium. I designed it. You were paid to. The words cut deeper than Mrs. Han intended. Nia looked away. Mrs. Han's voice softened slightly. You will oversee production from the rear team. No direct contact with the families. And on the wedding day, you will remain backstage. Nia laughed once. I built every part of that room. I know. Then why does she get to erase me? Mrs. Han's expression tightened. Because powerful people often confuse removing the witness with removing the truth. Nia stared at her. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No. Mrs. Han looked toward the window. It is supposed to help you survive long enough to prove them wrong. The morning of the wedding began at 4:30. Nia arrived before dawn in a tailored black suit. She checked the ballroom, the flowers, the candles, the aisle, the sound system. Every detail was exactly where it belonged. At 8:15, a server carrying coffee collided with her near the service elevator. The cup struck her jacket. Dark liquid spread across the cream blouse beneath it. The server gasped. I'm so sorry. Nia stepped back. It's fine. It was not fine. The fabric was ruined. Her spare clothes had disappeared from the staff room. She checked the garment rack twice. Nothing. A junior coordinator hurried toward her carrying a dress bag. This was left for you. Nia looked at the tag. No name. Inside was an emerald green gown. Elegant, floor-length, far too formal for staff. I can't wear this. You can't coordinate the reception in coffee stains. Who sent it? I don't know. Nia stared at the gown. Everything inside her said trap. But the ceremony was less than 3 hours away. She had no time to leave the hotel. Mrs. Han was managing the families. The staff needed her. Nia changed. The dress fit perfectly. That frightened her most. Someone had known her size. Ji-hoon saw her 20 minutes before the ceremony. He stopped in the corridor. Nia wished he had not. The expression on his face was immediate and unguarded. You look. Don't. He closed his mouth. She adjusted the tablet in her hands. My suit was ruined. Who gave you the dress? I don't know. His eyes sharpened. Take it off. Nia stared at him. That came out wrong. Yes. I mean change. Into what? He looked toward the staff corridor. Something is wrong. I know. Then leave and abandon the wedding. Yes, you know I can't. Ji-hoon stepped closer. You can. You might be comfortable walking away from responsibilities when they become difficult. I'm not. The words struck him. Nia regretted them immediately. Ji-hoon looked toward the ballroom doors. You think that's what I'm doing? I think you're still standing here. His jaw tightened. So are you. A voice called Nia's name. Mrs. Han. Nia turned away. Ji-hoon caught her hand. Only for a second. Be careful. She looked at their hands. He released her. From the far end of the corridor, Soo-jin watched. Her bridal veil framed a face completely calm. She smiled. Everything was ready. The ceremony began on time. The reception did not. Soo-jin changed the schedule after the vows, insisting on greeting several political guests before entering the ballroom. Nia adjusted. Then the catering team lost access to the service elevator. Nia redirected them. The video montage failed. She replaced it with live music, one crisis after another. Each one kept her visible. Each one pushed her farther into the ballroom, exactly where Soo-jin wanted her. By the time the couple entered, Nia was standing near the back in the emerald gown, checking the lighting sequence. The room looked perfect. White roses, gold light, crystal chandeliers, 200 guests. Nia had built every inch of it. Then Soo-jin took the microphone. I would like to thank everyone who helped make tonight possible. Applause. Mrs. Han smiled faintly. Nia looked down at the final schedule. Soo-jin continued. Unfortunately, there is one person here who has repeatedly forgotten what her role is. The room shifted. Nia looked up. Soo-jin was staring directly at her. The music stopped. She doesn't belong here, and the moment from the beginning returned. 200 heads turned. Security, Soo-jin said. Remove her. Nia's chest tightened. Mrs. Han moved forward. Soo-jin. The bride lifted one hand. Then a recording played through the ballroom speakers. Nia's voice. A marriage cannot survive two people refusing to tell the truth. Ji-hoon. Would you tell me to cancel it? Then Nia, you already know whether you should marry her. Gasps moved through the room. Nia stared at the speakers. That is edited. Soo-jin smiled sadly for the guests. She has spent months trying to turn my fiancé against me. That isn't what happened. Of course she would say that. Phones rose. One, then another, then 20. Security crossed the floor. Nia looked toward Ji-hoon. He stood beside Soo-jin, still, unreadable. For one terrible second, Nia believed he would let it happen. Then she remembered who she was. She lifted her chin, picked up her clutch, and walked, through the parted crowd, through the flowers she had chosen, past every table she had arranged. She refused to cry. The doors closed behind her, the music started again, then stopped a second time. Inside the ballroom, Ji-hoon removed the white rose from his lapel, placed it on the altar table, and walked. Soo-jin's face changed. Ji-hoon. He did not stop. His father stood. Sit down. Ji-hoon kept moving. Soo-jin grabbed his arm. If you walk out, everyone will know she was telling the truth. He looked at her hand, then at her. No. His voice was calm. They'll know you were. He removed her fingers from his sleeve, then walked out. Nia was already near the hotel entrance when he caught up. Nia. She kept walking. Nia, stop, she turned. You need to go back. No, you just got married. The ceremony happened. The marriage won't. Her face tightened. Do not do this because of me. I'm not. You followed me out in front of 200 people. Because what happened in there was wrong. And now everyone will say I destroyed your marriage. Ji-hoon looked through the glass doors at the cameras beginning to gather. They were going to say that anyway. That doesn't make it easier. No. He stepped closer, but it means sacrificing yourself would not have saved you. Nia's eyes burned. I warned you she was building something. I should have listened. You should have stopped it. I know. That answer took some of the anger from her. Only some. She looked at him. What happens now? Behind them, the ballroom doors opened. Ji-hoon's father emerged with security. Soo-jin followed in her wedding gown. Cameras turned. Ji-hoon looked toward them, then back at Nia. Now I tell the truth. The video reached 1 million views before midnight, not the edited recording. The moment Ji-hoon walked out, headlines appeared across Korea. Chaebol heir abandons bride for black wedding planner. Orium employee accused of affair. Kang family wedding collapses in public scandal. Nia's face was everywhere. By morning, Orium suspended her. Mrs. Han called personally. I'm sorry. Nia sat on the floor of her apartment with her laptop open and Daniel on speakerphone. Are you firing me? Suspending? That is not much better. I need time. Soo-jin has had months. I know. Mrs. Han's voice lowered. But if I keep you visible now, the company becomes the story instead of the evidence. What evidence? A pause. The first complaint came from an account linked to Soo-jin's assistant. Nia sat straighter. You know that. We discovered it last night. Then clear my name. It is not enough. Daniel's voice came through the phone. Nia looked around the apartment. No. It was the first honest answer she had given him in months. I'm coming. You're in Chicago. I know where I am. You can't fly across the world every time something happens. I'm the only family you've got left. That makes it my job. Tears finally reached her eyes. Nia pressed her hand over her mouth. Daniel stayed on the line. He did not fill the silence. He simply remained. Ji-hoon lost access to the family company the same morning. His father froze his corporate accounts, removed him from the board. Issued a statement saying Ji-hoon had suffered emotional confusion under professional manipulation. Ji-hoon read it once, then called a press conference. Nia found out from the television. He stood alone before dozens of microphones. I was not manipulated by Nia Freeman. Questions erupted, he continued. She never asked me to cancel the wedding. She repeatedly told me to make my own decision. A reporter shouted, Were you having an affair? No. Do you love her? Ji-hoon paused. Nia stopped breathing. He looked directly into the cameras. Yes. The room exploded. Nia shut off the television. Her phone rang immediately. Ji-hoon. She did not answer. He called again, then sent a message. I'm sorry you had to hear it like that. Nia stared at the screen, then typed, You had no right to make me part of another public scene. His reply came slowly. You're right, no defense, no excuse. That made it harder to remain angry. The plot twist arrived from the woman Nia had helped on her first day. So-yeon called 3 days after the wedding. I think I have something you need. They met at a quiet cafe near the Han River. So-yeon looked different from the frightened bride in the storage room. Calmer, certain. Min-jae sat beside her. He placed a tablet on the table. My sister works for Park Holdings. Nia looked at him. The sister from the phone call. He nodded. She discovered unusual payments made through Soo-jin's private office. The tablet displayed bank transfers, payments to a hotel employee, a staff coordinator at Orium, A media consultant. The server who spilled coffee on Nia. Nia's stomach turned. Soo-yeon continued. My sister also found the original audio file. She pressed play. The complete conversation filled the cafe. No manipulation, no affair. Only Ji-hoon asking for honesty and Nia refusing to make his decision for him. Nia stared at the screen. Why are you helping me? Soo-yeon looked at her. Because you protected me when protecting the wedding would have been easier. The words struck Nia with unexpected force. The first wedding had not been a detour. It had returned to save her. Soo-jin held her own press conference the following afternoon. She entered expecting sympathy. Instead, reporters received the financial records, the unedited recording and hotel security footage, showing her assistant placing the emerald gown in the staff room. Mrs. Han released Orium's internal findings. Ji-hoon's father withdrew his statement. Soo-jin stood beneath camera flashes as every part of her plan collapsed at once. A reporter asked, Did you fabricate evidence against Nia Freeman? Soo-jin's composure broke. She was taking him from me. Another reporter shouted, Was the marriage part of the corporate merger? That has nothing to do with this. Did Ji-hoon want to marry you? Soo-jin looked toward the cameras. For the first time, she had no prepared answer. Nia watched from Mrs. Han's office. She expected satisfaction. It did not come, only exhaustion. Mrs. Han stood beside her. You are reinstated. Nia looked at her. No. Mrs. Han frowned. What? I'm not coming back, Nia. I spent months proving I deserved to be here. Then the moment a powerful client decided I didn't, everyone asked me to become smaller until she felt safe. Mrs. Han looked away. Nia continued. You taught me to survive this industry. She picked up her portfolio. But I don't want survival to be the best thing my career gives me. Mrs. Han studied her for a long moment, then nodded. What will you do? Nia looked at the ballroom designs inside the portfolio. Build something of my own. Ji-hoon did not ask Nia to date him. Not immediately. He apologized first. Privately. No cameras, no grand gesture. He came to her apartment and stood outside until she agreed to speak with him. I should have ended the engagement before you became part of it, he said. Yes. I should have protected you when the rumors started. Yes. I should not have announced my feelings publicly. Yes. He almost smiled. You're enjoying this? No. A small pause. Maybe slightly. It was the first light moment between them in weeks. Then Nia's expression became serious. I need to know you didn't choose me because I was standing near the exit when you finally found the courage to leave. Ji-hoon absorbed the words. That's fair. I will not become the reward for you escaping a life you hated. You aren't. Then prove it. How? Build your own life first. He nodded. And you? I'm building mine. So they did. Separately at first. Ji-hoon used personal savings untouched by the family company to launch a smaller hospitality investment firm. Nia opened Freeman Events from a rented office with 2 desks, 1 assistant and more confidence than money. Mrs. Han sent her first major client. Soo-yeon sent the second. Within 6 months, Nia's company had planned 4 weddings and 1 international charity gala. Daniel visited Seoul for the opening. He stood inside her small office looking at her name on the glass door. You did all this? Nia shook her head. We did. Daniel looked around. Who is we? Ji-hoon entered carrying coffee. Daniel stared at him, then at Nia. That him? Nia closed her eyes. Daniel! Ji-hoon held out 1 coffee. I've heard a lot about you. Daniel accepted it without smiling. I haven't heard enough about you. Ji-hoon nodded. That's probably fair. Nia watched them. For once, she did not step in to manage the moment. She let the 2 men speak. Let Ji-hoon earn Daniel's trust himself. It felt strange, then freeing. Their relationship began quietly. Dinner after long work days. Phone calls that lasted longer than intended. Ji-hae forgot to eat when stressed. Nia learning that he hated silent rooms. No scandals, no secret meetings, no one being rescued. They chose each other in ordinary moments. 1 year after the wedding that never became a marriage, Ji-hoon asked Nia to meet him at the Grand Meran Hotel. She almost refused. I have nothing good associated with that place, that's why. He led her into the Imperial Crown Ballroom. It was empty, no guests, no cameras, no white roses, only warm lights and an unfinished setup for a charity event Freeman Events would host the following week. Nia looked around. What is this? The first room where I watched you refuse to let a wedding matter more than the woman inside it. That was upstairs. I know. He took her hand. And this is the room where I finally stopped letting other people choose my life. Nia's breathing changed. Ji-hoon reached into his pocket. She stared at him. "Don't kneel." He paused. "Why?" "Because I might cry before you speak." He smiled, then remained standing. "Nia Freeman, you've spent your life creating beginnings for people who sometimes didn't deserve the care you gave them." Her eyes filled anyway. "You never had to earn a place beside me." He opened the ring box. "But I would spend the rest of my life earning the privilege of standing beside you." Nia covered her mouth. "Will you marry me?" She looked around the ballroom where she had once been humiliated, then at the man who had walked out after her, but had spent the year since proving he knew how to stay. "Yes." He placed the ring on her finger. No audience applauded. No cameras flashed. It was only them. And for Nia that made it perfect. Their wedding was not held at the Grand Moran. Nia chose a smaller venue overlooking the Han River. Daniel walked her down the aisle. Mrs. Han sat in the second row. Seo-yeon cried before the ceremony even started. Ji-hoon waited at the altar without a white rose on his lapel. Nia had asked why. He told her, "I already left one wedding wearing one. I want this one to belong only to us." When Nia reached him, he took her hands. She looked at the room. Every candle, every flower, every detail. For the first time in her life, she had not planned any of it alone. And that was the real ending. Not that the black woman thrown out of a wedding eventually married the groom, but that the woman who had spent her entire life proving she deserved a place finally understood something Daniel had been telling her all along. She had never needed to earn being chosen. She only needed the courage to stop staying where she wasn't. So tell me, did Ji-hoon do the right thing by leaving the wedding, or should he have exposed Soo-jin before the ceremony ever began? Comment below, and share this story with someone who needs the reminder that love should never require them to become smaller. And please like and subscribe if you want more stories where dignity wins, truth comes out, and the woman everyone underestimated gets the ending she deserves.